Welcome back, guys. It is 2025 if you are watching this in real time. Christmas has been and gone. Welcome back to episode 4. Buckle up again. We've got a lot of things that we're going to go over today. We're going to be talking about reasons why people fail their New Year's resolutions, why people fail to launch in the first place, and the main things that you guys need to be implementing to see yourself for a successful 2025. So Charlotte, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's dive in. Okay, guys. So again, massive thank you for coming back to us. Welcome back. So like we just said, we're going to be touching on some important topics today. We've got some 3 key features that we're going to talk about. So reasons why people fail to launch their 2025 in the first place, talking about New Year's resolutions, the key mistakes we see there. Then we're going to talk about the fundamental things that everybody needs to be implementing to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then the third and final piece, Charlotte, you're going to have to remind me.
That is to...
Why people fail to see the year through,
People
right?
fail to see the year through. Like, what is the reasons for that?
Cool, so let's kick off. So obviously this time of year is a really busy one for everyone in the fitness industry, whether you've got an online product, whether you've got a facility like ours, PT studio like ours, the common PT, everybody. So obviously it's the time of year that everyone is rushing to turn the page, and it's that new year, new me syndrome that everyone goes through, which some people are anti, but I personally, I encourage it. I think it's great. It's a good way to stop, reflect on everything that happened last year. Sit down, rewrite the goals out and go again. So I personally am a big advocate for it. I like it. I am anti let's start Monday. We need to start Monday and pushing the goals along. But I think it's important to turn the page and start again. So we are going to talk about why people first and foremost fail to even get going, because some people sit there over the New Year period and write down all their goals, write down their dreams, their ambitions for the year, whether it be holidays, whether it be finances, whether it be job, whether it be fitness, health, whatever. And then some people just put it off and just don't launch at all. So we're going to discuss why that happens and what we've seen, because obviously we've spoken to a lot of people throughout January with everybody wanting to kickstart their new year. So let's dive in. Why do you, Charlotte, feel, and what have you seen recently, conversations you've had, why do you think people are failing to even get started?
So I actually did a post on this right at the start of January on our Instagram. If you're not following us, just at thegamechangertraining. Little plug. Little plug there. And I was the 3 things I commonly see, but also feel like the reason why people don't kind of set their goals off is they set unrealistic targets and goals as the main one. Now, we were literally talking about this before, but I think it's great when people set the bar high, they have really big aspirations. But if you're someone who's brand new to the gym and you're expecting to be 15 kilos down and running a marathon in 8 weeks, that's fairly unrealistic, and it's going to be quite unachievable and unsustainable for you and your lifestyle. I think what people typically do is they set themselves targets, which is amazing and so good, but then they forget about their lifestyle. They might be a busy mum of 4 and they work 9 to 5 and their weekends are filled with sports and this, that, and the other for their kids, and then they're wanting to get in 5 sessions a week. Is that going to work for you and your lifestyle? And I feel that's what typically happens. People set these targets, almost forget that they have a whole life and other priorities behind them. And then they fail to get going, or they might not achieve the steps that they put in place. And then they just think, oh, what's the point? And then they just shut that book, and then they think, I'll try again next month, or I'll try again next year, or later on in the year. So I think the unrealistic and unsustainable targets and goals that don't align with their lifestyle is a main one. And then I also think putting a lot of pressure on themselves as well. Again, it literally just coincides with what I was just speaking. You set the targets, you set the goals, you set the aspirations that don't necessarily fit within your lifestyle, and you're putting so much pressure on yourself that then and people don't sometimes bowl well under pressure. People don't like pressure.
I think that also feeds into a comparison.
They look online.
I think social media is terrible 100%. For that. And you're looking at your friend who is doing
hitting
half
the gym.
marathons, hitting the gym, is losing weight and doing really well. And then there's that comparison element of that
why can't I do that?
People,
But then that goes ahead with when we said on, I think it was our first ever podcast, was like, people to live two different lives. Like you and I live two different lives. Like you have 3 children and you run a business, and I'm your employee and I don't have any kids, and you know, I'm a young girl. So like, I think that's where people forget that like their own unique individual lives are not going to be the same as anybody else's. So I think pressure is a really big one. And just kind of going into their goals with like no system or no structure or no like plans in place. So like they're just going in there free willy. Like if you're brand new to like the gym and you're going into like a commercial space, like you're probably going to find it very overwhelming, because January is a very, very, very busy time in the gym. Like despite whether you go to a PT facility or whether you just go to a commercial gym anyway.
Yeah, most commercial gyms are not what's the word I'm looking for? They're not friendly atmosphere.
No. Like, especially when people have been going to the gym for so long, they get frustrated at those newbies. Like the amount of posts that I see in January, like, oh, haul the newbies in there for 2 weeks. And it's awful. Like I think people are just going in there, and no wonder people get intimidated and leave.
That could be someone's mum. That could be my mum joining the gym.
Yeah.
Like, get out the way, strip the weights. Like I've been going to a commercial gym now and again this month just because we physically can't get in ours at the time I want to train. Just for some headspace. Also trialing our online app with what we're doing as well.
Another pun.
And another one to plug in. But the way that I think about it is I'm like, I literally leave everything how I've left, or how I'd want it to be left for my mum. Or if Ali was coming in behind me and you see these guys leaving all the weights on the bars, I'm like, there's just no etiquette, especially to new people. So you can see why it becomes like a really 100%. Intimidating space to get into.
But not only that, like not feeling safe in the gym, maybe not feeling like it's very...
knowing what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So having that and knowing that you're a novice in the gym, like those things can even take you completely away from the goals that you're wanting. Or maybe you do go in there and get some advice off someone, but it's not really aligning with your goals. Like I feel like those 3 things for me is the reason why people just decide to be like, I'll try again in a month, or I'll try again later on in the year. Like this is not working for me right now, when there is no time like the present. Like you, even if you're starting off really small, I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but even if you're starting off really micro and really small, you're going to see the results eventually and you're going to see those systems put in place. But yeah, that's what I would say.
No,
How about you?
I agree on all of that. There's a few that I look at it 2 different lenses, but sticking with that same focus point, I feel people, it's like writing a Christmas wish list. They put so much on it.
Yeah.
I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to sign up to the local half marathon. I want to run do a high rocks. And they make their wish list so big that there's too much, and it's overwhelming, and you're going to fail because there's too much on there. So it's about picking one thing, or potentially 2 things that can coexist at the same time.
Yeah, and a lot of them will be conflicting, like we've spoke about. So it's like
wanting to lose weight and train for a half marathon or a high rocks. You can't do those 2 things. No. You can, but you're going to be very bad at both. Yeah. So it is over populating the list of what you're wanting to achieve. Well, so first of all, it's a good thing because you've got all these goals. But it's like, right, what's the most high priority thing on that list that you want to work with right now? Figuring out why you want to do that and going in all in that. And then once you've hit that, then you can turn the page and go on to the next one. So I think overexposure of too many goals on there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the other lens that I feel why people haven't even kicked off their 2025, because again, I've spoken to a lot of people. My job within the business is to do sales and speak to people that are potentially coming in. And I read this statistic and I put it into one of our newsletters at the beginning of January. And it was like, I think it was something mad, like 74% of people have failed their New Year's resolution by the beginning or the second week of January.
Yeah,
74%.
I see that. It's crazy.
So you've set that on like New Year's Day. It's called out the first.
Yeah.
Gyms, you haven't got to the gym till the 2nd or the 3rd, maybe the 4th, whatever. But you're 2 weeks in and you've just stopped doing what you were doing. Whether it could, and that's not even fit. It could be fitness. It could be learning a new language. It could be, I'm going to go out and get my steps in. It could be whatever. But 2 weeks in, 74% of people will have stopped, quit and failed their New Year's resolution, which is mental.
Yeah.
So again, that could be because you've put too much on your plate, so it becomes really overwhelming. And then when I look at it from like a business head or a marketing standpoint, I feel this year more than any other year, I feel like there's so much, almost too much. I
agree.
Overconsumption.
Overconsumption.
It's like the way that I look at it is like if we went to Vegas today and we're going to go and pick a bar and we're going to walk down the strip, there's just bright lights everywhere. And there's too many bright lights coming at you. And there's this guy pulling you in and there's that girl pulling you in. It's just, there's too much. And there's obviously, we do that in the space. We advertise in the space, and the smaller businesses like us do that. But we also are now competing with the likes of the David Lloyds, the Fitness First, the Pure Gyms. They're all putting loads into advertising spend. So as a consumer, if I'm using the avatar of like my mum, and she goes, right, this is the year I'm going to lose some weight, or I'm going to get my health back on track. So I've had a health scare last year, whatever it might be. There's like, where do I start? Because there's too much. Do I go and join this commercial gym that has a beautiful spa and I've got this nice car park and I can have a coffee on the way out and a beer if I want to, and join this class? Or do I go to Reformer Pilates? Do I go and join the local run club? Do I
online space?
Do I get an online coach? What do I do? Do I join this other facility? Do I get a PT? It's like,
it's becoming too saturated.
There's too much. And what tends to happen is people just go, I'll take that one. And then they jump on the first one with the brightest lights that they see. And then they'll notice after 6 weeks, well, they might be in that 74% of people that quit and stop. And then not even pick it up again until they've booked a holiday in midsummer and think, oh shit, I better do something about this because I look like shit and I feel like shit. So they might not even do something till then. Or they go, right, that's not worked. And they're bouncing on to the next thing and the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But I feel like there's just too much noise. And Instagram is to blame. Marketing is to blame. You just see it absolutely everywhere. Which is a bad thing, but it's not.
I think as a consumer,
it's an essential thing for a business to do. But as a consumer, it is just information overload. So it just becomes, it's just too much.
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? Like I went on there when I was going through a rough stage of like, this is so off topic, but when I was going through a rough stage with my acne, I was going online and I was Googling like, what's the best thing and what's the best product and what should I do? And the amount that comes up, I was so overwhelmed. That's why I just decided I'm just going to go to someone, even if it means I'm spending way more than I would be, but at least the money's going into someone that's actually going to help me and it's going to invest. And I think that's where people forget that you could pay like, it's just £20 a month at a commercial gym, but that adds up. And if you're not going or you're not seeing the results because you're not knowing what you're doing, and like you say, the likes of people in there giving the wrong advice and stuff like that, and you're still wasting a bit of money. Like you might as well invest in something that someone's going to help you, whether it is an online coach, whether it is a PT, whether it is a small group personal training facility, to get you started at least. And then if you decide, 6 months down the line, oh, I feel good, I feel like I could do something myself, then at least you've stuck to it for a bit of time and then got into it. But it's a very, very, very saturated industry. I was thinking about that this morning.
On that point, like I have this mentor and he says this thing where it's and this is talking about hiring the right person. So imagine how much it will cost you to hire an amateur. So if you're just jumping at the first thing that you see and going potentially to a commercial gym, in the nicest way, unfortunately, I'm sorry if any of you are listening that are working in a place like this, that is where the most low skilled coaches, that's where you have to start. I had to start there, you had to start there. So naturally that's the beginning, that's the first step of the fitness industry.
Your journey.
You just have to go through the shit to get to the gold. But if you're just jumping at the first thing because it's the cheapest thing, in the long run, how much is that going to cost you to hire an amateur in time, in wasted money, in energy, for you to be 6 months down the line, years down the line, to realize like, that's not worked. And then you're then going to work your way through to the right person. So imagine how much it's going to cost you to hire an amateur compared to paying a professional to do a good job. It's the same if you've got your house, an extension on your house, would you go to the cheap company, or would you
actually look into it?
Would you do some more due diligence and get a company that's done hundreds and thousands of builds and they've had no problems and the roof isn't going to leak and the windows aren't going to be cold and whatever else, or you just take the cheap option? But that's, I think investing into the right thing and the right person is super important. So I think it goes down to doing your due diligence, and that it comes with reverting back to what we spoke about, the overconsumption of too many things. You're not having time to go, let me just stop for a minute and go, right, what does this one offer? What does that one offer? What does this one offer?
Doing the research.
Because what is your goal? What is your goal? So my goal is I want to lose a stone because I've got a wedding coming up or whatever. Let's just pick like a generic goal like that. Well, would the right course for you to be to go and do Reformer Pilates because it's cool at the moment? Probably not, because no one's going to help you with your nutrition at all. Would it be going to a David Lloyd because they've got a lovely spa that you can relax in afterwards, which is going to make you feel nice, and you can tell your friends you go to David Lloyd because at the end of the day, that's all you care about. That's why you go there in the first place. Sorry for those who go to David Lloyd. It's the truth. You don't care about your fitness.
David Lloyd.
You care about your status, not your fitness. Or would you go and seek out a nutritionist? Because I know what I would suggest someone to do. If your goal is purely to lose weight, you're better off going and addressing your nutrition first and foremost. So you're better off almost hiring a dietitian or a nutritionist and then adding some exercise and some steps and whatever else on the side. So it's having the time to literally think and do your due diligence on what you need around your goal. So again, 100%. If your goal was to do a half marathon, then you might need to go and get a run coach. Or if you wanted to do a high rocks, then you might well have to go and seek out a gym that, again, nice plug there, specializes in that kind of training. So it's about, there's too much going on in the market space. People are jumping at it. They're over consuming and putting too much on their plates. And then that just creates inaction. So just nothing is happening.
Yep. And I think that's a kind of really great thing about kind of what like we offer. And we'll get into this shortly because obviously we're going to be speaking about what we believe the key things are. But no matter whether you are doing a half marathon or whether you are wanting to lose weight or you are starting a high rocks or you're just wanting to start a fitness journey, like we offer that to like all the abilities and all the experiences that even just ourselves with like, our in-house nutritionist and then our coaches and then well-being and all that stuff. And I think that's where people, you do need to do your research. And even if it is trying to find something like us, whether you're up north or wherever, trying to find that right thing that fits for you, that also brings things like community and, inclusivity and safe space and all of that sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, like you want to enjoy what you're doing. You want to enjoy exercise. Like if you're going to a PT and you're hating every single time you're there with them, you've got to kind of pull yourself back and be like, why do I not like this? Is it the personal trainer, or is it the class instructor?
Is it the environment?
Is it the environment? Is it, that I just don't enjoy the session that they've, given me, but I'm paying them and they know what they're doing because they know best. Like it's about pulling yourself out of that and being like, right, well, why is it so important to do the research? Like my partner does, before he gets anything, before he buys anything, he does weeks and weeks of research for what, like even if we're just buying a coffee machine, he'll do weeks and weeks of research on it.
But
mistakes. It is, exactly.
You're not going to waste any money by hiring an amateur.
Exactly. He doesn't rush to anything. It took him like 8 weeks to find a car when he would obviously, he got his, like he was changing. So like and I get why he does it. I mean, I'm really impatient. I'm like, I'll get it now.
Impulse buyer.
Yeah.
So you're like the market space that have jumped to the biggest sign that they've seen.
He kind of halts me. He's a bit like, calm down, because I get excited. And I think that's what people do. Like when it starts a new year, people get so excited.
You're full of motivation.
Like,
it's the time of year that everyone's motivation is going to be at its highest.
It's skyrocketing.
But we even see this with our clients. Like we send out every January, December time, a form that goes out that basically asks people, right, what's your goals for the new year? It's important that we reflect. So this will go back into the second question. But we basically want to know, what's your goals this year? And I see it all the time. The people that just put 1 or 2, I know statistically they're the people that are going to tick those 2 goals. But there are others that write down 5 things. And then it's a matter of us having a conversation with that person going, love the enthusiasm. Love that you've got great. 5 things that you want to focus on. This is fucking awesome. Great. However, what one can we circle right now that is that has the highest priority for you? What can we circle? Can we just achieve that? Because that one is also going to open up the door to the second one. And then go and having a realistic conversation about all the other bits and pieces. But we see it even within our community. So that's with people that are getting guided, let alone people that are brand new to the space.
Exactly. So I think this is a really good way to like kind of delve into the next
a good segue
thing. Yeah, a really good segue. So if I was to ask you, what do you believe and what you know to be the key things in helping someone achieve their goals and be successful with their goals? And that doesn't, necessarily mean it has to be achieved within the first month. It could be like 6 months to 12 months down the line where they start to see their results. What would you say are the key fundamentals into seeing that?
Okay. So I love this question for a few reasons. And it's a deep one. So we need to be cautious of the time because we could go into a massive rabbit hole of this. So
could do a completely separate episode on this as well.
I think is the most important piece to any goal-orientated journey, whether it's fitness, business, whatever your goals are. This is the most important piece. And I truly believe this is what makes coaches stand out from others, from a good coach to an excellent coach. Because just having the ability to coach on the floor, set some reps and deliver a good session of energy is one thing. Yeah. But understanding this next piece and how you can implement that into somebody's life is the most important thing. So I'm going to try not to divert and side note too much, but it's all going to make sense. So basically, we started a book club at the Game Changer. Yeah?
Yes.
And the first book that I asked the coaches, and goody two shoes here, Charlotte's the one that's jumped at
Singular coach.
Has jumped at the opportunity, is to read a book called Atomic Habits. Now, if you've read this book, you'll know everything that we're going to speak about. But I feel like it's an imperative, important book that everybody should be reading or should have read. If you
listen to the audio book.
There's this audio. You have just to pick what you prefer, but within this book, there's many books, and this opens up the rabbit hole of personal development and understanding what's needed to achieve things. But it goes down to having strategies and understanding how compounding daily tasks, or just doing that extra 1% or that thing on repeat every single day, builds up to be, or builds the staircase to wherever you want to get to. Because what happens is people get that goal of, I want to lose weight.
And they lose it.
And it's a great goal to have. But the reason why they've not got that goal is it's like, I want to build a house. Well, where do you need to start?
Yeah.
The architect, that's us.
Yeah.
The coach, the personal trainer, is the person who creates the paper, creates the plan that says, right, we need to first of all dig. I don't know if I'm going to get this in the right order. We're going to dig. We're going to lay the foundations. We're then going to need to get, all the materials delivered. We need to speak to the sparkies. We need to get the water. Where are we going to put things? So that is the most important element of building the house. The house at the end.
Also,
the person who builds the house is the one who gets all the credit, the builder. Yeah. But the architect, without the architect laying it out and going, well, this is the end goal, and let's reverse engineer.
And how long is it going to take to get to
How long is it going to take to get there? What processes do we need to put into play to be able to get there? That's the piece that everyone misses. So just having that weight loss goal, it's like, cool, that's the goal, right?
I like that analogy. It's very good. I love your analogies.
So that's the goal. Then we have to reverse engineer that goal. Yeah. So what does that person, first of all, what does that person need to do? So the questions would be asked, what time does that person need to get up? What would that person eat for breakfast? What does that person do for day to day? How many times a week does that person train? How many steps does that person need? How many hours sleep does that person need? How stressful is that person's life? And all these things need to be put into play into this architectural plan. So you have to have some kind of structure to follow. If you're just going to I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to go to the gym. Yes. Yeah. That's the surface. That's the outside of the onion. But the onion's got so many layers to it. So we have to break them all down. And the key thing here is going, right, get really granular about the goal. So be really specific what that goal is. So you've highlighted that goal, weight loss. Well, why weight loss? How much weight loss? You have to be super specific about it.
Super deep. Yeah.
You've got to go deep. Then it's like, right, okay, let's put a time frame on it, because everybody works better around time frames. And that's the accountability piece. And that's one thing that we do really well in our gym, in our facility, is we are the accountability coaches that keep you on track. But without that time frame, without those appointments booked, you've got no one to keep you accountable. For people that go and train on their own in the gym, it's harder for them. Unless you're like you and I, we don't need any accountability other than to look ourselves in the mirror in the eye and be like, fucking work harder, motherfucker. Let's go. People have busy lives with kids, with jobs that don't allow them to do these things. So doing it on your own is the hardest thing, because you don't have that accountability there. Yeah. So if you do want that, you're going to have to give yourself some kind of time frame. Then the third piece is you need to understand, or you need to then start acting your way into that person. So what would that person do? And you have to almost like, I don't like using the phrase fake it till you make it, but you have to behave your way into what that person would look like. So if you wanted to be a CEO of a company, what does a CEO do?
Yeah. What do they
read? Do they sit around watching shit TV? Do they stay up till midnight? Do they not work out? Do they eat shit food? No, they don't. What does a high performer do? High performer looks after their sleep, looks after their stress. They have teams to manage. You have to start behaving your way into that person. Yeah. So those are the three basic structures of any architecture that build or plan that has to go into play when getting there. And without that, that's why people fail. And that is what our job as coaches is to do for people. So if you go to an amateur coach, they don't know that because they might not have had the experience. They might not have read the books. They might not have had enough clients through the door to understand.
Or they might have not implemented themselves.
Or I want to get some bigger biceps. Cool. Well, again, everything has to be granular and everything has to have some kind of structure behind it. So you get the goal, you reverse engineer it, understand the processes, and then start behaving your way into becoming that person. And that middle piece there, in my eyes, I've seen it for 15 years, is the reason why people succeed or don't succeed. Because they just go, I've got this goal, and they think I'm going to turn up to the gym and it's just going to magically happen for them. It might, but over 5 years rather than 5 months. Because they haven't got that structure. And that structure is what builds habits and creates habits. Hence that book, Atomic Habits. Because that's what
Everyone
it does.
Buy it.
What it's doing, I'm not getting any commission from the book, but I should do.
Amazon link.
What that is doing is it's building your habits. And it's making you create that person, that next person. I spoke about it on the previous podcast about killing your clone. If you can kill that clone every single day, you are building and building and building and doing that 1% more, and you're behaving your way into the person you want to become.
I like that.
Most important piece.
I would literally say the same in terms of what I believe as well. Like, I think, like you said, it's about creating, and this is within the book, creating those systems in place that then create the habit for you. Like, I was reading the chapter on Saturday morning about how every morning you do things that are just habitual. So you'll walk downstairs, you'll switch on the light, you'll put on the kettle, you might, you'll get your cup out, you may scroll on your phone. They're habitual in your life now and you don't even think about it. I walk down the stairs and like, I'll naturally just switch the light on, or I'll naturally switch the kettle on when I'm in the morning getting ready for work, because they're habitual lifestyle habits and they're in there. And it's the same for you and I now with our training. We don't think like about it. We just train. We don't think about our food. We just choose those choices.
The biggest choice for us is like, what am I going to wear tomorrow?
The most minor things.
What colours go together? Where's my matching socks?
And sometimes it's when am I going to train? Like, what time have I got in the day to train? It's not if I'm going to, it's when have I got the time to train. So, and for people starting out, they might have the anxiety of thinking like, what do I train and how do I get to this goal? And, what do I need to eat to get to that goal? And that's when, like you said, you hire the architect, you hire the coach, you hire that professional to help you get to that, to help you build those systems. So then you get to, 3-4 months down the line and you're starting to build these habits and you don't have to think about it. Like, we have a lot of the members, like maybe around 8 to 9 months into their journey now, creating incredible goals, hitting all the numbers. And I just spoke to them like yesterday, there was 2 of them, and I just said like, this is a lifestyle for you now. And they were like, yes, like we've built this lifestyle because of what we've been doing. And they're like, we couldn't think of not having this now in our life, like going to the gym and waking up and coming and training. It's almost like second nature. You just get up. I was actually speaking to one in a check-in. She was like, I just get up. I already have my shoes ready. I have my Soreen ready to go. I get my shoes on, I get my coat on, and I'm out the door. Don't even have to think about it. She was like, whereas like when I first started, I'd and ah a few times, or I'd, see my alarm and snooze it and a little bit. She was like, but I'm not like that now. And that's because she's built those systems in place because she's had this goal in mind, and then she's achieved it by the help of not only us, but like her own mindset.
She understands the process, and it's about being organized, because all that you're doing is you're removing friction. If you wake up in the morning, you're like, shit, where's my gym clothes? That's your first friction point. Oh, I didn't set my alarm, or I've snoozed my alarm. That's another friction piece. Oh, I didn't make sure there's petrol in my car so I don't have to stop on the way. That's friction. Are the kids' clothes ready for when I get back so I can do the school run efficiently? That's friction. You have to remove the friction. The only way you can do that is by being organized and doing things the day before. You and I, we're those kind of people where we would have planned everything we've done today. My diary was planned for this on Sunday. The clothes I picked out last night, my kids' clothes I picked out last night, I understood where I needed to be at what time to make sure it flows. It's just about being organized. And on that piece of the habits, it can flip the other way, where people can create bad habits. So how many people, first thing in the morning, grab your phone and start scrolling? Like, how quickly do you get on Instagram from the moment your eyes open? Because that's a terrible habit. And it's about creating those bad ones. Even people that have been in our gym, they create terrible habits because they've been there for such a long time. They think that they know what they're doing, or they think that they, again, that's probably the easiest way to say it. They think they know what they're doing, and then they create bad habits. They just turn up to the gym. They don't sort of track their foods. they're in and out of their attendance, and you can create bad habits. So it works both ways. And
Definitely.
It's the habits which is the thing that gets you success or not.
Yeah. But I think as well, what a great thing you said too, it's about like actually visioning yourself as the person you want to become. So if, say, for example, like you want to become a manager, or you want to become a CEO, or you want to run a business, you have to imagine that you're doing that, or that you are that person. And that's exactly what James Clear was saying in his book as well. Like you have to think you are already doing that thing. So I think he just wrote something like saying, if you're, you could say it two ways. Let's say you're quitting smoking, for example. There's like two ways that he says in the book. I can't remember it like word for word, but it was either like, I stopped smoking, or I quit smoking. And then there was like, I'm not a smoker. And there's two different ways of saying that. One, you're saying that you've just quit, so you still are a smoker. And then the other one was like, I'm not a smoker. So you are literally telling yourself, I'm not doing that thing. And those just two little changes in the phrase, in the sentence, it taught a lot of people to just not smoke anymore, because they're telling themselves, I'm not that person. So on the flip side, if you're telling yourself you are that person, so I am a 5:30 a.m. goer to the gym, I am organized, I am this, I am that, you start to manifest, you start to actually envision yourself as the person you want to become. And that's another great tool to get you where you want to be. So yeah, that was a really good pivotal point in that book as well.
And going with that as well, there's someone in our gym, she's lovely. She'll know who I'm talking. You're talking about her, and it's around smoking. So people set the goal of, it's New Year, I'm going to stop smoking. Exactly what you just said. Not changing that language, and they plan. So this person had a cigarette on their dashboard.
This was hilarious. So I
opened the car door and I saw there was a pack of fags in there.
They are friends, right?
And they had one just about. And she had one cigarette left as an emergency.
Yeah.
And she was I pretended that I was going to break the cigarette. And she was so angry that I was going to potentially break the cigarette. Ooh. But what she's doing there is she's not committing. She's not committing to the goal. So
no.
You know by now, like my brain, I think my brain is quite weird and quite funny, but analogies work really well for me. So the game Snakes and Ladders, I apply that to a lot of life. Yeah. So I do it with you guys, and I'm coaching you guys as coaches. I try to do it with the members when I coach them. But life is like a game of snakes and ladders. And the whole idea is obviously trying to get through the board game without touching the snakes and sliding down. You can take some ladders up with some wins, but what she's then doing is she might be really good. Like her plan was to be so solid for like 4 weeks, and then it's going to be her birthday and have a blowout and drink. By the way, she didn't, because by then she'd created the habits she didn't want to.
Amazing.
And she had 2 glasses of wine, that was it. But in her mind, at the beginning of the month, she wanted to go and binge drink. So that'd be her having a good roll of 6s all the way up and down the board game until she finally hits that snake on her birthday and comes flying down. And then again, you have to start at ground zero. Maybe not all the way down to ground zero, but you're just going to take much longer to work your way through the board. Because you're going to constantly be hitting these snakes. So people do it all the time. And it's that we had a conversation with Stuart, who runs this podcast. It's exactly the same mindset of it'll be short-term sacrifice, which is yo-yoing, where you go, I'm just going on a holiday, so I'm going to be really good from this time to this time. And then as soon as I get there, I'm going to hit the fuck it button. I'm going to blow it all out. Now that is not creating habits. All that is doing is taking something away that you want, and then you just can't wait to put it back in, and you're going to go and hit that snake and come back down again. It happens everywhere, from business, from your home life, from your training. Sometimes you can't help it. You will get injured. That's you landing on a snake and coming down a little bit, but not one of the big long snakes that takes you all the way to the bottom. Just a short one. That's a mini setback, and that happens. But when these setbacks happen, it's an opportunity to reflect. So especially from an injury standpoint, you reflect on things.
Like why
and you try to rebuild, like, how can I not let this happen again? Or how can I rebuild this, and so on. But when you're not committing to a goal of nutrition, or I'm going to have that emergency cigarette, or I'm going to have that blowout, you're not creating those habits that you just spoke about. You're not changing that mindset. You're not changing that narrative or that terminology. So you're not really committing to it. It's a short-term thing. And that's what yo-yoing is. That's what yo-yo dieting is. On, off, on, off, on, off. I've got a holiday. I'm going to cut everything out till then.
And I think, like, just even thinking now, just whilst you were talking, it's like you know that everybody wants to live a very healthy, happy lifestyle. Like, you meet loads of people across the board. And if you are a gym person, if you work in fitness industry, the minute you say you work in a fitness industry, you're going to have conversations with people about the gym. It's literally it's inevitable.
We don't get to not work.
No,
do we?
I literally feel like every day I must have a conversation
every
about
party you go to, every wedding you go to, every barbecue you go to.
They mention something about fitness.
Ask you, so what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Or what do you do? And you know, how have you got to this place and so forth and so forth. And I think it's great. It's really good to speak about that. Obviously, like you say, you don't feel like you get a day off sometimes, but like, where am I going with this? Because my brain's just kind of gone the opposite way. That was it. But I just feel like it's also about people having the discipline and the
keyword.
Like that's actually, that's all I'm going to say is just discipline to get to those goals. Like a lot of people think they can half-ass their way through a fitness journey to get to where they want to be within like 5 months. Like that is not going to work. Like I've been training since I've been doing sport all my life, but in the gym, I've been training for like 8-9 years now. And I'm only just getting to a pivotal point in my fitness journey. And that's 8-9 years. That's 8-9 years of hard work, graft, learning different things, changing my training style, going from one thing to the other. And that's where people think, it's going to happen in 6 to 12 weeks. Like you can start a great journey in 6 to 12 weeks and you can see really great results within a year, but you're going to want more. And you're also going to fall off a little bit and then get back on it and then fall off and get back on it. It's just about, like we've just said, building the habits, building the systems, making it your lifestyle to the point where like everything becomes second nature. And you don't feel like, you know, if you go away for a week that you need to, the 4 weeks before that, go really strict with your diet. You don't need to feel like that because you've worked years and years and years to get to where you want to be. And I think just like unrealistic targets and everything we said is just like where people set themselves a time frame of like, I want to lose it X amount of weight, let's say a stone in 6 weeks. And we have to be like, whoa, like, you know, that will not happen, which I think, like you were saying, amateur coaches will be like, yeah, that's great, just to get that sale, where we're like, you won't lose that in 6 weeks. That's unrealistic. Let's knuckle that down a little bit. Let's go for 5 kilos, or let's go for, you know, just a random number there. But yeah, discipline is the main thing. And recently I've had a lot of conversations with members in our gym that they've told me that their weight has plateaued. And I'm like, right, be honest with me. Like, have you been tracking? And how honest have you been with yourself when you're tracking? And I literally had this conversation with one of them last night and she was like, yeah, I actually haven't been tracking. I'm like, well, that's why your weight has plateaued. And I have to turn to like strict coach mode, which I like to do because people like it. People like the strict. People like, you know, slap me on the wrist and tell me I'm doing it wrong.
You have to unsugarcoat sometimes.
Yeah. And I've really enjoyed doing that recently because it's like, that's the only way you're going to listen. Like if I tell you, unless you actually commit to what I've told you to do, you're not going to see the results, or at least you're not going to see them as quickly as you would like to see them. And you're just slowing and putting that goalpost further and further and further away. So discipline is a big one, is a key fundamental there.
There's two things I sort of phrases that I feel everyone needs to really get into their head when they want to have change. And the first one is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing the same thing over and over on repeat and expecting the same outcome, that is the definition of insanity. Nothing's going to change. No. The second one is, change has to feel different. Mm-hmm.
Uncomfortable. Has to feel uncomfortable. It has to feel different.
Mm-hmm. If you're, again, it goes back to like, if you're doing the same thing of the cycle of turning up to sessions, not tracking your sessions, not tracking your food, and just doing the same thing in terms of the training is the training. That's something that doesn't necessarily have to change. A squat's a squat and it's never going to change the rest of your life. But the hard bit is what you do outside the gym. The changes that you have to make around your sleep, around your commitments, around your discipline that you just spoke about, around your food, because that's the things that really change.
Yeah.
The training is the easy stuff. Mm-hmm. That doesn't differ too much. But it's the other things that's really hard. And if it doesn't feel different, if you're not feeling different in terms of how you're behaving and how you're performing outside the gym, are you prepping your food? Are you being conscious about what you're buying from the supermarkets? Are you still going out and binge eating and drinking on the weekends? If you're not changing, then your habits aren't going to change. No. So you can't expect that you're going to be looking or feeling any different at all.
Yeah.
Change has to feel different. And that's something that I applied to myself. Mm-hmm. This year, I want different outcomes with my personal circumstances. So I can't do the same things that I did last year and expect a different outcome. Yeah. Change has to feel different. It has to feel harder. It has to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It has to feel uncomfortable. It has to push me outside my comfort zone because change.
You almost don't want to do it. Exactly. You almost go and do it and think this is not for me. And you have to feel that resistance and that friction that you said to be like, do I want to do this? And then you kind of and ahhing because you're like, I don't want to feel that way, but yeah, it has to feel like you're going through a really pivotal moment to start to see the results. Or it doesn't even this doesn't even have to be relating to the gym. This could be like anything. This could be like with a work.
Well, mine's not related to the gym.
Yours is more of
mine's related to my
business and,
to my business, to my personal life. It's change has to feel different.
Yeah, it's
so
scary.
My day-to-day has to feel different, has to look different. I have to perform different. I have to be in a different mindset.
Yeah.
I've climbed up that bit of my game on my snakes and ladders, and like I don't want to hit them snakes and come back down again. So the next level is harder. So change has to happen. I have to perform better. It has to feel, I have to look back and be like, did I kill the clone last week?
Yeah.
Did I kill the clone from 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
And that change has to feel different.
And I think that's where we just go back to like the first bit actually, where we said
people
about
find comfort just on that. People like to get in comfort zone. And comfort zone is the killer of dreams. And when you're in that comfortable position, and it's hard sometimes because when you look at people in their day-to-day life and they have a job where they work for, that's just a 9 to 5 job. It becomes, there's challenges within the job, and the challenges obviously within to climb the ladder in wherever sector you work in. But that can sometimes just sort of be like autopilot.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to personal goals, which are around your health, your fitness, your finance, your mindset, that's way different and harder compared to what you do in day-to-day life at work. So that's going to have and be where all your challenges are.
Yeah.
But people are so used to being comfortable in their day-to-day that just feels like completely alien, where well, that's, you need to apply that there.
Yeah.
You got to get outside your comfort zone, because comfort zone is the killer of dreams.
Yeah. And I think like what I was just about to say, going back to the kind of failure to launch, and I guess the next thing that we were going to jump into anyway was like, why do we believe so many people fail to see the year through? I think that is a key element of that. It's being afraid to go outside your comfort zone, because just literally what you just said then, people, they get scared, they feel uncomfortable, they don't want to do something that's, going to scare them, and they don't take that leap, or that they take that chance. And like you say, it doesn't have to be within health and fitness. It could simply be with a job role, like maybe they want to go up into the next level, like get a pay rise, promotion, whatever, but they're so scared of doing the thing, or they're so scared of doing the interview, or going through the hard work to get that promotion. They fail. So yeah, I think
if you go back to like the very first episode on this, I'm a big advocate of, you have to fail, and you have to fail forwards. It's okay to shoot your shot and miss. It's okay to go for that interview and not get it. Yeah, but it's important that you reflect, go, why didn't I get it?
Yeah, learn from it.
I'm prepared. I'm not good enough for it yet. I'm not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you fail forwards. And it's the same if we relate it back to the gym. Not so much the gym, but relating it back to nutrition and the things that push your goals along. Yeah. You have to fail sometimes. You have to get to sticky points where you get uncomfortable and you get upset because nothing's happened and you've not changed, and go, why hasn't it not? And then go look yourself in the mirror and have an honest conversation. Well, Charlotte asked me if I tracked my food, and I didn't, and I'm not, and I haven't for the past 2 weeks. So I've done it 1 week out of 4 weeks. Well, you've done it 1 week out of 4 weeks. That's not going to change anything. No. You've got to be honest with yourself. And sometimes being honest with yourself, it's uncomfortable. It's not nice being told like, fuck, it's me. I'm the problem, not everyone else. It's me. That's the hard bit. It's
taking the accountability. Yeah. And that kind of relates a little bit to when I was going through like recovery from my eating disorder. I tried to go through recovery probably more than I can even think about. And every single time I'd fail because I'd get uncomfortable at eating more food and eating the food that I feared. So, if I got told like, okay, we're going to increase your calories by X amount, because I worked with someone when I was going through my recovery, I would be like, nope, can't do that. And I'd fail. And every single time I'd fail because I personally believe at the times that I did it, I weren't ready. Like my mindset wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. But because I started to feel uncomfortable, because obviously, as you know, when you're in an eating disorder, you're fearing food, you're restricting food, you're feeling guilty for overeating. And then you're telling me I need to eat more food. Like I would run the opposite way.
Wrong language for starters.
Yeah. And so that's exactly where every time I'd come to do it, I was like, no, this is not, I can't do this. And then I'd fail. Every year I'd tell myself, I'm going to get better with this. I'm going to fix my relationship. I'm going to do this. And then every year from my eating disorder, from like the age of 15, I would fail and I would get myself in a good place and then I'd go back and then I'd go back and then I'd go back. And it's because of that comfort. Yeah, it's the self-sabotage, it's the comfort zone. Also social media and everything obviously has a part to play in it. But when it hit 1 year, I think it was 2021, just after kind of COVID had hit and stuff like that, because that was the worst point for me was in COVID. But when it hit that, I was like, nah, I need to change. Like this needs to change, because I had envisioned where I wanted to be. And like, you know, when I'd finished my master's and my career, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to get in that career if I don't fix my own relationship with food. Because how can I tell someone to eat more if I won't even eat more? So that was a real, where I found a pivotal moment for me.
So with that again, that goes back to the goals, and it's really important that you found your point of pain.
Yeah.
That pain has to become so intense that you go, I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yeah.
So that pain point for some people might be a health scare.
Yeah.
It might be someone in their family passing away because of a health reason.
Yeah.
It might be someone looking.
It's hard to think about.
It might be you trying to get into a pair of jeans that don't fit you, and then you sit on your bed and crying. It might be you looking at your bank account and being like, fuck, I've got no money in there. Whatever that pain point it has to be so painful that it shocks you into actually taking drastic and massive action.
It changes your mindset.
And that's what you had. You had that pain point that was like, I can't do this without doing the thing. And that thing is uncomfortable and that thing isn't nice. But you had to change, and change feels different. And if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Exactly.
And you did all of that.
Yeah. And it's hard. Like everything's going to be hard in the first 6 months, whether you choose to, like, let's say for hypothetical reasons, you come to the gym and you're not the fittest person you once were when you were younger, and you're having to basically start all over again. Those sessions are going to feel tough. They're going to feel difficult. You're not going to have the best time. You're probably not even going to enjoy your first, 6 weeks when you start your journey, because it's going to feel hard. And you might be disappointed in yourself and disappointed in what you've done to your habits and your lifestyle. But when you push past that barrier, and when you push past that pain point, and you start getting into a better place and things start feeling better and more comfortable, then that is when you see those results. And then again you set something that then takes you again outside that comfort zone, and you just keep on compiling those, because that's how you're going to end up switching your life around and seeing those changes.
So in conclusion, with all of that, the big things that we'll pull from that to make things easy for people to digest is you have to get really clear on the goals. You have to dive deep into the why, which is the pain point.
Yeah.
Once you have those, it's then to create / reverse engineer your architectural plan of action and understand what needs to happen, who you need to become is the most important thing. Then start acting your way into that. And then making sure that all those goals aren't extravagant and you put too many on your plate, right? Hit one, tick it, move on, turn the page, write another one. And I think a big thing is, like, if you need the support in that, and you need the assistance and the guidance and the help, go and get it. Invest that time, invest that money, invest that energy into some people who are actually going to help you. But do your research. Do your research into it. I do that. Like I have that for you. Like our members come to us for our professional advice to help us get from A to B. I do the same. I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything. So I have to then get some help. I paid for a mentor that understands the world of marketing, and I did my due diligence and understood what I wanted, what my goals were, what my pain point was, who I needed to become, and then all of that business that we've just spoken about, and invested into what I need to understand to be able to take what I need to the next level. Same with running the business that I run. I went and outsourced to people that can help me do that. So it applies in all areas of life. Which is the most important. So with that as well, I think that can move us on to the next question quite nicely. Because again, this is almost like a reflective piece, because it's the new year kind of stuff. You've reflected on good things from last year. People have written down what they want to achieve for the new year. So let's hear from you some short lessons from 2024. And things you're going to want to achieve in 2025.
Okay, so things I feel like I learned a lot in 2024, to be honest. But I think kind of two key things that I kind of took away from it was, like, to stay in your own lane and reduce the noise around you. I'm typically someone who I'm quite a people pleaser. Like I want to always make sure that everyone gets the best out of everything, which is obviously the nature of my job, which is what I will continue to do. But then sometimes you feel like you overthink that, and like a lot of pressure then comes with that. And then you almost forget that like you are still on your own journey as well. Like, and I'm still learning and I'm still trying to build a better me, whether it's in the gym or as a partner or as a friend or an employee, like whatever. So I think it's me focusing on just as much as I help everyone else, and I literally love doing that. It's also focusing and staying in my own lane and kind of reducing everything else that goes around me, because I'm so typical of looking at something and thinking, should I be doing that? Or, oh, should I be learning that way? Or should I be? And it's like, no, Charlotte, stay in your own lane. Like you're doing well with what you're doing. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You have these goals. And that's the only way that you're going to get further is if you focus on you. Like, obviously, yes, my job is to focus on other people, but there's that 50-50 split of like, okay, half my energy goes into everyone that I look after at the gym, online, on my Instagram, on my socials, whatever. And then the other 50% is for me and obviously my friends and my family and everything like that. And I found that at the start of last year, I probably just gave so much energy into everybody else and almost forgot about me. Whereas like the end of the year and kind of my vision boards, like both on my phone and on my screen that I created, were all about kind of more of a, and I'm probably jumping the gun talking about my goals for the future, but like more of a, let's just focus on you and your mental health rather than, you know, worrying too much about everybody else around you. And it's just about staying in my own lane. And a kind of a you versus you thing. Like you're not against anyone else. No one's against you. Like you are against you. And it goes back to when we were saying about the uncomfortableness. Like if I want to progress in my career, if I want to progress financially, if I want to progress in my goals, I've only got myself to hold myself accountable for and make sure that I get to where I want to be by the work that I do. Like, yeah, there's other people around you that can help, mentors, colleagues, all of that sort of stuff. But I'm only going to get to places I want to be by myself. And I found that just the end of last year coming into this new year, that really like pivotal turning point of like, I like the books that I've been reading, the podcasts that I've been listening to, like, yeah, you get the help from others, but you can only hold yourself accountable for the choices you make and the work you put in. So I feel like those were kind of the two lessons that I took away from last year. I think that
relates so well with everything we've just spoken about with people wanting to be on a fitness journey. There's two things there that I pick out. So obviously I've seen that journey with you this year. Social media obviously can be a huge distraction, especially for people like you and I. What people don't understand is you and I have to be on Instagram because it's part of our job. We don't necessarily want to be on Instagram. No. I wish I didn't have a job. I had a job that didn't need Instagram, but we have to. So we have to show up. We have to record our workouts. Our job is to inspire and motivate other people. And again, there's a lot of noise on Instagram. There's so many other people that look better, move better, have better, live in the sun. So naturally we're going to compare to others. So I think comparing to others is definitely something that's so hard not to do. Because we even do it to try and find inspiration of, oh, that's a good idea. We could do this. So that's hard. And it is a big distraction for us, but we have to do it. We've got no choice. It's how we market ourselves. It's how we show up every single day. It's how we inspire others. And then the other big thing for you, I think that I noticed was like, and I'd frame it from, how did you word it? You worded it as in, I don't know how you worded it, but I would say protecting your energy. Yes. Yeah. Boundaries. So having boundaries, but obviously as a coach, our job is to give. Yeah. So like, I always felt when I was coaching like one-to-one for 10 plus years I always sort of joke with people that I've got like a stack of masks here. And after every session, I take the tired one off and I'd open up the new packet and I'd put on the new one, which just had smiley Jake, full of energy, full of motivation. Yeah. But behind you couldn't see how much pain I was personally in, mentally, physically, and God knows what else, fighting my own demons. So it's really hard as a coach when our 100%. Job is to care so much about other people more than they care about themselves. Because our job is to recognize what they're doing wrong, understand the architectural plans that we now speak about, and help implement that. So it's really hard. And all we're doing is giving energy. Like if you think about how many words we speak a day to people, like we have all these sessions back to back. How often we're just talking nonstop. Also changing your like kind of narrative language and personality
to whoever's in front of you. Like you could go from speaking to one of the, the 22-year-old like girls in our gym to then speaking to Ivan, who's 80 odd. Like I'm going to have two different conversations with those two. I'm not going to be a different person, but my narrative and conversation is going to be different. Like I'm going to, that's where I think that's like you say, like I was literally thinking about that driving to work this morning before we came here was about like the energy and how different how much we give as a coach. Like I think people don't realize how much you give as a coach and how you could be in the worst mood possible or have so much going on, but you're never going to show that because
they'll never know. Yeah.
They will never know because you're literally having to put that mask on to be like, hi guys, like, right, let's get good. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think, like that can drain you.
I saw it with you a few times and we sat down many times and even to restructure what your week looks like, where's your energy going? Because people are just, because of your natural personality, people just take. So all you're doing is just passing your cup around to everyone else without filling your own cup up. So it takes you to break down and potentially break down and feel that pain point of tears and God knows whatever else that demons you fight for you to go, fuck this, I've had enough. And then you decide that, right, this year I'm going to change this. My job is to give energy, but at the same time, I have to have this boundary up to protect myself and fill my cup up myself.
Because otherwise I can't be the best coach. I can't be the best friend. I can't be the best daughter.
We preach that to our clients as well. Like I often have this conversation with many of our members saying, it's the analogy of, again, another one for you, that you got to fill your cup up first. Like if the plane's going down, you got to put your mask on before you help others. So if you're topping your cup up before everyone else's, that's going to allow you to be a better colleague, a better mum, a better parent, a better whoever you need to be. And the other way that I like to look at it, this philosophy that I've adapted this year, and it's called, and we spoke to this about Stuart, that he should do, is paying yourself first. And that doesn't mean paying yourself financially. No. It means paying yourself what you need every single day to survive. And that's what I fell victim to for the past 6 to 9 months last year. I was putting on my masks all the time. No one could see, or unless you could see the mask clipping. I was fighting my own demons. There was a lot of pain going on behind the doors that people don't know about, but that's my bullshit that I need to deal with, no one else's. But it's about, what do I need to do on a daily basis to make sure that I'm paying myself first? So I would typically put my workout off until the very end, because I've got a list that is never ending, and it's realizing that my list will never end. I can tick and there'll be something at the bottom that adds onto it. I've got 3 children. My son arrived at the end of last year. So that was another new thing to adjust to. Another member of staff comes in. So my plates just start to stack up. So all I was doing was pushing my needs to the very, very end, to the point where I was having to go to the gym at 11 o'clock at night and then come back to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Or I tried the opposite and tried to come in at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was just hitting those burnout points. So paying yourself first is a philosophy that I feel like luckily our members get to do, because they get to turn up, do their session.
You lucky ducks.
Do their thing, fill their cup up, and then they're off with all that energy to go and smash their day. But for a coach, and especially what I recognize of you, was you were just literally going, pouring your cup to everybody, rather than going, what do you need? And having those boundaries and paying yourself first, topping your cup up, protecting your energy, because as a coach, that's our job, is to give energy to people and look after them and coach people. But it's about protecting what you have.
Exactly.
And you had to break down a few times to be able to
multiple times
to be like, right, let's restructure what this looks like. How can we put these boundaries up and protect you, rather than just people on you the whole time?
Exactly. So is that one of your lessons then? One of your lessons? What have you what have you learned?
Loads. Like
so many to talk about.
I'm a massive reflecting person. So I reflect like by the granular. So daily, I'll reflect on it. I sit down at the end of the night when everyone goes to bed, and I clean my kitchen and I put some lo-fi music on, and I get my laptop open and I work 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And that's me to reflect. Like, did I move my snakes and ladder piece along the board? If I didn't,
did you kill the clone?
Did I kill the clone? All these things are really important. So I reflect on the day, reflect on the week, reflect on the month, not only on myself, but on you, on Dave, on Phil, on the clients, on the business, on my kids. Like, there's a lot of reflection pieces. So it's a lot to put on. But I did realize that my natural personality is to give. I'm like, I'll be the person that will eat the cold dinner because I've given everyone else what they want and got everyone's drink sorted. And like, I'm that person. I'll give you the last pound in my pocket rather than me, and I'll walk home rather than take the bus. You know what I mean? So it's a detriment towards me, because eventually I'm going to burn out, which I do every single time. And I'm a bottler. I don't don't tell people my problems. I just stick it in a bottle, shake it up, and then eventually it blows up somewhere. So for me, it was about recognizing, what do I need to do to be a better parent, because my kids aren't getting 100% of me when I am there, because I'm not present, because I'm thinking about a million other things.
Yeah. Okay.
So having those personal boundaries to myself, that this isn't going to last forever with my children. They're not going to be this age.
No,
this
is
really important. And all the rest of the noise doesn't matter. It's bullshit. That really doesn't matter. Like, what matters is them.
Yeah.
So having the boundaries, like when I'm not working, turn your phone off. Or if I'm taking Georgie football training or football on a Saturday, and I'm answering messages for the whole hour, like, what are you doing, you dickhead?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Leave the phone in the car, or turn it off, or just leave it in your pocket. Like, everyone can wait. So creating those boundaries to be a better parent, be a better boss, manager, mentor, call me whatever you want for you guys. Because again, if I'm no good, then you're no good. So I need to be on top of my game for you.
Yeah.
But it's all, and then also for what the members need, to make sure that I can make sure the business is moving in the right direction, to give everyone the best possible experience and the vision that I have and the mission that I have, and make sure it comes to life. So it's about understanding that I have to start paying myself first. And my thing is, the ice bar thing that I do, it's horrible. Don't enjoy it, but it's hard. And I do it because it's hard. So I kill my clone every day.
Yeah.
It's the mental release. Running, everyone knows, or everyone has a stigma in our gym that I hate running because I used to play professional football and used to run every single day.
Yeah.
So I've done enough of it, and it was used as punishment. So running isn't enjoyable for me at all, but I'll run 3 times a week, twice a week.
Yeah.
No music, and it's purely, I'm going, right, this is going to be torture. It's going to be shit. It's going to hurt. I'm not going to enjoy one single thing, but it's just an opportunity for me to get out for half an hour, 45 minutes and be with just me and my demons and the voices in my head, and beat them, and just let them let me fight with my brain for 45 minutes. So it's about putting those things in that I need to just have my release. Prioritizing my training has been a big thing, because I'd put it off to 11 o'clock at night or push it into the day. It doesn't happen. Yeah. So for me, it was learning that I have to be on the top of my game to be better for my children, for you,
it's what you just
members,
said to me.
for business. Exactly.
Yeah, it's
and I was being
cup.
a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I can't tell my members and my clients to do that, and for you coaches to do that, and then I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And because then it's just fake. So I'm like, I have to live by the sword that I hold. Yeah. Because otherwise it's you're just full of shit. So it's like, just do what you said you're going to do. So for me, that was the biggest lesson. And again, it comes down to protecting my energy.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
Because I don't physically have days off, which is fine. Yeah. I have little pockets off. It's like, just work hard 6, 7, 8 weeks back to back, no days off, and then just make sure that at the end of the quarter, or the 7 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, that I have 2 days off and I go away with my family, or I take a week off or 3 days off or whatever else. But it's about making sure that there's little milestones, my little micro goals, my little time frame goals, that keeps me accountable. Yeah. So it relates the same to everything we've just spoken about, just in a different sector.
And I think what I have realized over this last year as well, like kind of a bit of a lesson, is I do like to be busy. I do like to be productive, and not like, I remember I spoke to someone that was just like, oh, that could be, this, that, and the other. And you really do need to take some time off. So then you're not, burning your scent. And I'm like, I get that, but I like to be busy and I like to be productive, whether that is just like cleaning the house or going for a walk or going to the gym or actually working, like, or going for a food shop or going for a coffee with a friend. Like, I like to be doing things, not because I want to be like, these things don't even have to do with people. I'm quite an introvert, extroverted person. Like, my social battery can burn quite low, but then at the same time, my job is around people. So I'm always around everyone, but I like my own time. Like, I like my own quiet time, which is quite funny because I'm obviously with people all throughout the day. So when I get home, I'm like, I just want to be by myself. And then like, I have like Zach, bless him, like next to me, like talking. I'm just like, can we just have 5 minutes of silence, please?
Poor Zach.
Poor Zach. But I'm just like, I need 5 minutes just because I'm, my cup's been like, my cup's just been drained.
Depleted, yeah.
So I just need 2-3 minutes just to be like, redo that cup. That's why on days like today, for example, where I have the morning off coaching and I'll just be doing my admin work, or I'll be with you doing a bit of admin work, and then I'll have the afternoon to like train and then maybe go for a food shop and do things that are then gonna, this is weird.
They're wholesome things to you.
Yeah, they're gonna refill that cup up. So then when I go back tomorrow.
You feel like tasks to other people,
but
and
to
chores,
me,
but here's what you
I
enjoy.
love it. And like tomorrow, my cup's going to be completely back to the top, and then it's going to go again, and then it's going to come back up. And like, that's where I just like I go home sometimes in the day from like work just for like my lunch, and I'm sat there after like half an hour, like, okay, what do I do now? Because I get like, I just like being productive. And I think that's why I like my weekends being busy.
Well,
but
so you're
then
not programmed like society to sit and go.
Yeah, I really don't watch much telly.
For hours, yeah.
I get bored watching telly. I'm like, this is not stimulating. This doesn't help me. And I'm sorry to anyone who likes watching telly. Like, I'm terrible at watching films. I'm terrible at watching series. I just get bored and I'm like, right, what can I do? Like, fair enough on an evening when I know I'm going to bed in like half an hour, an hour's time. I read my book. I'm happy with doing that. But yeah, I just feel like I've really learned that I do like being productive and I like having something to do. I don't know whether it's just my mindset, but yeah, I just find that like sometimes a day off to me is like, right, let's get back to work the next day because I'm just so bored.
So goals for this year, what have you got on the agenda, which will lead us nicely into what we've got planned for this year? Yeah,
so I, whether you follow like us on Instagram or not, or whether you follow myself on Instagram, I recently did a high rocks. So me and my friend did a high rocks. I was pretty sick when I did that high rocks. So in hindsight, I wish it could have gone better for me personally, but I still really enjoyed it. I was so happy with our time and what we got. So a personal goal is to do another high rocks and to obviously beat our time, feel better. Yeah, exact same partner.
Shout out to Leah.
Love Leah. Go on, Leah. Amazing. Honestly, she really got me through that course when I was sick. So yeah, that's another goal. We have affects, couldn't get my words out then. We have affects, so that's another big goal. Them two kind of come hand in hand just to be like really ready for these competitions coming up. Hopefully not, fingers crossed, not get sick this time. A major goal for me is just running, and just continuously running. I can motivate and discipline myself to get to a gym, but for me, a run is really quite difficult. They're one of those things that I'm like, right, let's hype myself up. Let's just get this done. So sometimes having like a nice little reward after it, whether that's getting a coffee or whatever, like is what motivates me to get out in a run. But a big thing for me this year, and I was literally talking to Zach about this, my partner, on the way when we were driving on the weekend, is personal growth. Like a lot of what I'm focusing on this year is more about my progression in my career, my progression in my life, mentally. Like I've done the physical goals. Like I don't have like major aesthetic goals or, I would like to get better at running. Like I said, the high rocks, the affects, I could be fitter, I could be stronger, but a lot of my energy is going into personal development this year and just being a better person, preserving energy, knowing boundaries, like learning lessons from last year and stuff like that. Because I just found even in this last 6 weeks of the year, I've had such pivotal turns and I've really learned a lot, even just within, like I say, the first 6 weeks of this year so far. I'm just really trying to focus on like my own personal development as a person rather than like fitness related things. Because I mean, for me, without this sounding, probably cliche, but I'm a gym person and I always will be. You know what I mean? It's my career, it's my life. This is literally what I do for a living. So I don't need to tell myself I need to do X, Y, and Z for nutrition and X, Y, and Z for training because it's my habits. It's what I've built now. So yeah, I don't have any major fitness ones other than those two, and then just personal development. What about you?
I'm the same. Like fitness wise, it just comes natural to me. Yeah, it is what I do. It's about recognizing. So for me, probably the biggest goal this year was like work on my mind. My brain is my biggest kryptonite, but it's also my biggest superpower. So it's to really understand, to try and keep it healthy. And like without that, I'm just a mess. So things like competitions, if I'm completely honest, like my competitiveness in sport left me a long time ago. I used to play professional sport when it was really high stakes. It was my job. Like you get paid for it. So competition space that we have in the gym and high rocks and affects, I'm doing it purely just for some fun and to embed myself even more into our community. I'll join in some turf games this summer for sure. To be honest, none of them light me on fire. I don't get super excited for them because it's not where my passion is anymore. That competitive side of me in sport is gone. Yeah. But I'll do it just to definitely embed myself into community and have some fun with you guys. But it's about, for me, it's just really looking, if I want to take myself and this business and my mission to the next level, my brain and my mind has to be sharp. So it's about understanding I have to do those things, create those habits on a daily basis to keep my mindset, keep my mental health on track, because there's a lot of distractions. It's hard, it's stressful. There's often breakdown and cry, but it is what it is. And it's like, don't suck it up. somewhere someone else is working a lot harder than you with a lot more on their plate. Nobody cares, work harder sort of situation. So for me, it's about just staying super sharp in my brain, making sure I'm looking after myself mentally, because the physical, like I said, just comes second nature.
Exactly,
like, training is part of the thing that I know helps my brain.
Yep.
The aesthetic goals, they come as a byproduct.
Exactly.
I don't have to think about my food. It's what I do day in, day out. It's my habit. And just keep driving the mission that I have created for you guys, the members, and everyone else around me. So biggest thing is just stay sharp. And that comes by implementing, making sure I'm going away with my family, making sure that I'm enjoying my family time and I'm turning off, put in regular holidays and breaks. But a lot going on this year. Which again moves us nicely into the next question, which where we'll sort of wrap up. But again, without me being sharp and my acts being good to go, and we're not going to get there. So it's super important that I just make sure that I'm dialing in every day. But lots of things obviously on the agenda with us. So we've just affiliated with Hyrox, which is cool. Yeah, so it's been on the cards. It's been like literally a year since we've been talking about it, and we put it in a post. It was down to timing, and we could have done it last year. But for me, being the business owner, I wanted our product to be absolutely spot on, and us to really, for people to have a proper understanding of why they come to us and really have the reputation of what we do. And just adding sprinkles on top of an ice cream that's got sprinkles would be pointless. I didn't want to blur the lines. We are the place to come to for personal training, strength and conditioning, all the vitality stuff that comes in between. We have our bolt-ons like Hyrox for the people, because obviously within our business or within the gym, one of our things is that we want to lift people's limiting belief system, so that you might just come in with the goal of weight loss, and then 3 months down the line, they've done their first games day with us, had a chat with their other members about turning up to a turf games or eventually a Hyrox. So for me, it was just a natural progression, a natural thing to add on, a nice to have, not a need to have. We already have had members going to Hyrox for the past 2 years, like nearly over 100 people. We know what we're doing. We already facilitate for it. We already program for it. So for me, it was about just making sure that we could officially hang the flag up in the club, and we could be on the map as being Milton Keynes' place to go for Hyrox training that isn't like the other places that are doing it wrong. Simulating isn't how you're going to get good at Hyrox. You don't do Hyrox to get good at Hyrox. You have to have that base of your triangle being the strength and conditioning element. And that's what we provide. And then we just have our bolt-ons on the side. So there will be some additional programs for people that have signed up. So obviously we had the early access happened yesterday for our guys. So a bunch of our guys got tickets. So it's just to make sure that they're fully ready to go, better than they was last year. And there'll be some sort of side programs for them to do alongside what we do in-house. Super exciting times with that. And it's just annoying that when our clients are training for it and they don't get tickets, it's just shit. So for me, it was purely like I did it for the members to make sure that they could get tickets. And that's my honest answer.
And that's just the type of guy that you are. Like, you're giving back to the people that you care about, and what we care about is their goals and their and what they want. And it was really disappointing when, like, the last couple of times there've been Hyrox ballots, or the tickets have come and they've just sold out within like seconds, because of how popular the sport is and how popular it's obviously becoming. And it's frustrating when you see like people getting it who are not necessarily wanting to get it, like influencers and stuff. Like, I'm not saying you don't want it, but like like influencers who work with like different brands and they get the tickets straight away. It's like it's unfortunate, because we have obviously the members really wanting to try it out,
a year for it.
Beat their times. And I think it's a really great thing that we've added to the gym, that will hopefully, people will now be able to, even more so, our other members, like who have just joined in a year's time, think, oh, that's something that I might be interested in.
But it's also for like the people that are in our ecosystem or are in the town that have potentially done one, got one booked, might need some guidance, don't really know what they're doing. And I know that we really have the best coaches in the town, in the county, hands down. Collectively, us 4 heads that we have in the gym are the best around. Like, I'm sorry, but there's no one better. So you're in the right place for us to get you from where you want to be. So come and listen to us, take our expertise, do our programming because we know it works.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We've just spoken this whole podcast about how to reverse engineer a goal.
Yeah.
We're the architects. Let's come and build your house for you.
Exactly.
And then that also springboards into the track lights that we have on this year. So we tried them last year. Again, been on the cards for a long time, but it's just at the right time. So we just touched on those over Christmas. We're going to be releasing more of those, and good news for people that aren't game changers. You're welcome to come along for absolutely free. So you're welcome to come along.
Free, baby.
We'll be putting things up on the Instagram with a little sticker tap. So all you've got to do is just let us know you're coming, just for health and safety reasons, so we know numbers.
Yeah.
But there'll be 2 different types of track sessions. So one will just be just working on your running, it's an open run one, where we're getting you to understand your paces and understand how to run properly, but understanding how to get faster. And then there'll be a second one now that we've got the high rock stuff, where the plan is that we'll bring some ergs along to the track.
A little bit more individualized.
And then it will be a bit more where you get to have that compromised running situation where you'll be on off of rowers, on off of skis, and a few of the other bits and pieces. So again, we're not simulating, but we're working on the specifics that you need. So there'll be 2 different type sessions. And again, they will be open to everybody. And then the idea is that we use that as a feeder system that you can really see that we're fucking good at what we do. And if you want to come and jump in, you can. So 2 cool things there. And obviously we've got the online training that we released this year, which is going quite well. We're happy with that. Yeah,
that launched right at the start of the year. So the 1st of January, we launched that. So that has been going really well, which again kind of feeds into, now that we're High Rocks affiliated, keep like eyes peeled, because we will be launching some High Rocks style training programs, strength and conditioning programs to help you get ready for your High Rocks 12 weeks groups. Have a look out of that one, because that's going to be coming fairly soon, and that'll be something that'll be shared on our Instagram. So make sure you're following us there, because that's really exciting too.
And I know people always have questions about, is there another gym coming? Has it there's always stuff
like an actual place?
Yeah, there's always stuff going on.
Okay.
And it's always a question that's always getting asked by members. I'm not saying anything, but there's a reason why I walk around with a tape measure in my bag at all times. But yeah, there's plenty on the cards for us this year.
A lot coming.
Things that will come will be, we'll pull the curtains back at the right times, as we always do. But we're constantly busy in the background trying to make sure that the members are getting what they want, that you guys are getting loads of stuff from these podcasts, because these are super fun. So we're going to dial even harder on the podcast this year. We had a slow start to the year just because January is the busiest month for us. We need to make sure that our members got off to a flying start, and everyone else that was new coming through our doors. But the podcasts are going to push on, and we're just going to keep smashing things out of the park, as we always do, Charlotte?
Yeah, love it. Excited for 2025.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 4. And we'll see you back for the next one pretty damn soon.
Yeah, next month.
So guys, thank you. See you next time.
Bye.